This week on Canadian Whitetail.
Just headed in right now on a nice deer that we call Trashcan.
Oh, there's Trashcan.
Deer hunting is a lot like life. It's not easy, and if you want results, it's a lot of work. And like life, there's no shortcuts, no workaround or easy way to your goals. And if your goal is to hunt the biggest free-range whitetails that have ever walked, it's 365 days a year of preparation and dedication. For us, that's all fueled by a passion for whitetails, and to share these hunts and the stories of these deer on film. As do-it-yourself hunters, success means a never-ending cycle of getting ready, scouting, and setting up, until all of that work is not work anymore and it simply becomes your lifestyle and what you do. And you do it so that when the season is finally here and it's time to head in and hunt, you have a chance for that one moment, that 1 second that we all dream about, a chance to experience that feeling that when all your hard work pays off, and that giant steps out. Just a gorgeous animal. Unbelievable. Incredible deer.
Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail is proudly brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Limb Saver, products that work. Big and J Long Range Attractants. The aroma is super strong. The range is super long. Excalibur Crossbow. The most trusted crossbows on the planet. Under Armour. Never detected. Always lethal. Elite Archery. The world's most shootable bow. Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces. Performance and value by design. Bog Pod. Monopods, bipods, and tripods. The Whitetail Institute of North America, premium food plot seed specifically engineered for whitetail deer. And by the Heater Bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear.
Persistence pays off, and that's something that team member Ryan Onofreychuk knows all too well. And after his 2-year hunt for his first archery whitetail, Ryan can't help but to think how long it'll take to land his next archery giant. Last year, as seen on an episode of Canadian Whitetail, Ryan embarked on a hunt for not just one, but 3 different bucks, 2 of which were shot before he had an encounter with them. Ryan's positive attitude and dedication kept him on stand day after day until finally he had a moment with a huge Saskatchewan whitetail. Taking this gorgeous deer definitely set Ryan in motion towards trying to take more mature whitetails with his bow. After having taken a tremendous deer last year, Ryan fully expected it to take years again to line up on another mature giant. But all of Ryan's hard work and passing of younger deer was about to pay off a lot sooner than expected. Early in the summer, Ryan started getting consistent photos of the buck that he called Trashcan. And this deer was a buck that he knew well and had been watching for the last couple of years. Since 2012, Ryan's been keeping an eye on the buck, watching him grow and mature, every year getting larger and smarter until now in 2015, as a 7-year-old deer, A Boone & Crockett class non-typical with big mass, long beams, and plenty of tines. A deer worthy of anyone in the woods. As the summer went on, Ryan kept collecting as much information as possible, scouting and watching, until he was ready and confident on where he needed to set up.
You're watching Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail, North America's premier wild whitetail show.
Well, it's only a few days before our archery opener here in Saskatchewan. I'm just headed in right now to set up a blind on a nice deer that we call Trashcan. He's been passing through one certain area there in daylight quite often here, so we figured we should get a blind set up in there, and come opening week we're gonna probably sit on him a few times.
Ryan having a spot all set up and ready, the only thing left was to take a few more shots to make sure that everything was still on from a summer of practicing before the season opens. Heading in on day one, Ryan can't help but to think what it'll take to get an encounter with that giant old buck. And if he does get that encounter, what it'll take to capitalize on it.
Well, we're just on the way, go sitting for Trashcan here tonight. Blind's been in there for a few days now, and the wind is perfect, so hopefully he shows up tonight and we get a chance at him.
This caliber of buck is not behind every tree and is certainly few and far between, as are the encounters with them. But Ryan heads in knowing that it can happen on day one as easy as day 71. In and settled, it doesn't take long for the very first deer to arrive, followed closely by her two little fellows. Ryan notices movement behind the doe and sees a buck, a young heavy-horned up-and-comer. While the little guys play, the buck stays focused behind the blind, spooking at what was presumably a coyote. With that ending Ryan's night, he gets packed up to return again another day.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. The aroma is super strong. The range is super long.
This week's scouting segment might not produce big results, but it'll undoubtedly increase your hunting experience. And that's by including your family, spouse, or kids in your scouting. You might be surprised at the amount of enjoyment that the non-hunting members of your family may have in helping to set the stage for the fall hunts. We are by nature hunters, and there's a lot of satisfaction from being in the field. It's the only way that kids learn, and these trips afield are where hunters are born in the youth. It's interactive and as exciting as you want to make it. Likewise, a spouse can become more interested in hunting or simply enjoy the fresh air and help it. Involving more people in the outdoors, whether it's your son, your daughter, your spouse, or that neighbor kid that might not have the chance, only gives more people that opportunity to enjoy our most natural pastime. And if in that process they're bit by the hunting bug and continue to grow that passion, it's nothing but a good thing for all of us. I mentioned at the beginning of the segment that it may not produce big results or land that next buck of your dreams, but in reality, including your other family members in that scouting process only means more time in the field, which usually leads to more success. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. This segment has been brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces. A central boiler easily connects to your existing forced air, in-floor radiant, baseboard, or dual heat system to heat your entire home in domestic water. Central Boiler, performance and value by design.
Welcome back. After a fairly uneventful first day, Ryan is back in the blind, hoping for an encounter with the buck that he calls Trashcan. Again, the first to appear is a doe early on. And not far behind her, here comes another young buck. After only 2 days in the blind and slower deer movement, it was about to get a lot more exciting for day 3. But little did Ryan know the hard decisions he was about to have to make. Later that evening, a lone doe arrives, cautiously watching back into the timber. Ryan looks over and sees what has her attention. It's Trashcan at just 20 yards. This moment is many hunters' dream come true, but tonight, for Ryan, it's a nightmare. Although still legal time, he's filming himself and cannot tell if there's enough light left to get quality video. With the Boone & Crockett caliber deer at only 18 yards, Ryan makes the so difficult decision to pass and let him by, and hope for a better encounter another day. A decision that may come to haunt Ryan.
Well, we're just pulling up to our spot here. We're gonna go sit for a deer we call Trashcan. I sat for him last night and I ended up letting him go. He came in at last light, but it was poor camera light for me, so I was solo and had to let him go. But I got Brennan behind the camera tonight, so hopefully he comes in a little earlier and we get a shot at him.
Heading back in, you can be sure that the previous day's decision is weighing heavy on Ryan. It could be one of the best decisions he makes while hunting Trashcan, but could be equally the worst. But either way, he's headed back in, this time with Brendan running the camera.
show up too late, just like last night. So we got about a 3-hour sit. It's early. Got a nice southwest wind, so hopefully deer move early and try and pass through here to get to that standing oats field.
Early on, Ryan's greeted by the same doe and young fawns. As the evening wears on, deer activity is slow until again, just at last light, Ryan looks up and sees the buck that he calls Trashcan. Tonight, the buck's a little bit earlier, and Brendan gives Ryan the nod that it's okay to shoot. And Ryan comes to full draw on a non-typical whitetail of his dreams.
This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Hoyman Premium Tree Saws. Hoyman Premium Tree Saws, the first truly extendable folding saws.
Welcome back. Before the break, Ryan again had Trashcan at under 20 yards. A little earlier than last night, and Ryan was ready. Waiting for the big buck to turn his head so he can draw his bow, Ryan gets his chance.
How was Trashcan? I know, what do you think? A little far back, eh? Oh, he's nice. Well, we'll maybe go check that arrow right away, get it a few minutes, and then we'll go out. Check the footage too, I guess. To me, it looks far back.
A hard thing to deal with, knowing that your shot was not what you were hoping for. And for Ryan, unfortunately, the waiting and anticipation is not over just yet, as they do the exact right thing and elect to leave the deer overnight.
Well, it's the day after, and we finally caught up to Trashcan here at mid-morning, and he's down, so let's go have a look. Well, here he is. There's Trashcan, 7.5-year-old deer that we've been watching for the last 5. Finally decided this year was the year, and started setting up on him. Finally we got in a position where we could hunt them in daylight hours. So last night was the night. We decided to back out because of the marginal shot. It was a little high and far back. We did find the deer, and that's the way hunting goes sometimes. So that's an end to the season, and what a deer to go with it.
Unfortunately, a hunt is not scripted. I've never seen one go perfect yet. Whether a bad wind a bad shot or an encounter gone wrong, it's just hunting. And when that arrow sent is not the end of that hunt is never over until that deer is in the freezer. And those who are successful, like Ryan, recognize this. And congratulations again, Ryan, on an absolutely fantastic whitetail. I'm sure it won't be the last.
Closed captioning for Canadian whitetail is provided by huntsask.ca, your information source for Canada's best whitetail hunting. Hunt Saskatchewan, Canada. Canadian whitetail has also been brought to you by Ramcat Broadheads, hits like a ram, cuts like a cat, Kula Buck, portable walk-in cooler systems, Scott Archery, CBE bow sights, and Black Eagle arrows. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors. For exclusive content, follow Dean and the team on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter @WhitetailDean. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, visit CanadianHuntShop.com.